Welcome to the AC 24/7 Top Story Countdown. We'll guide you through the biggest news of the day. Our focus, advocating our rights, advocating equality, advocating health, and advocating Earth. Here's our pick for number 4.
Well, it really has been an appalling week for Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky returning to the country here, putting a brave face on it, extolling the fact that they have now begun membership talks with the European Union. But apart from that, he's travelled to Washington, travelled in Europe, trying to bolster the possibility of funding, and he's resolutely failed. The United States Congress really unable to get themselves together to continue the billions of funding that Ukraine so urgently needs, and the European Union too, while being sunny in their disposition about the veto Hungary put in preventing their $55 billion of aid coming Ukraine's way, and saying they'll have another go in January. It's a Putin sympathiser, Viktor Orban of Hungary, who put that veto in, and saw the morale impact on Ukraine's front lines already palpable, frankly, before we heard all of this bad news. The fact that the West was wavering, having a real impact on those in the trenches here, facing a bleak winter ahead, facing a renewed Russia, a Russia with billions of dollars to spare and slowly getting its military-industrial complex together. It's really a group of fringe Republicans, it's fair to say, that are holding this up. Some suggesting Ukraine should be able to present a finite goal for a finite price tag. Some saying, well, hey, if you're losing the war, why should the US give you more money if you're a loser? If you're winning the war, why do you need it? And if you're in a stalemate war, then maybe now is a good time to negotiate. Essentially blind to two things: the US's recent history at fighting long, complicated wars of choice. They should be aware of the $1 trillion price tag, of the messy state you can get into a conflict where an end goal is often elusive, and also too, of Europe's previous century, the history of what a power-hungry, territory-hungry power can indeed do if not stopped at an earlier moment. Desperately, Ukraine needing Western assistance, desperately now finding it not forthcoming, and Russia really re-equipping, hungry, as I say, to continue moving forwards. We visited many frontline positions over the past 2 weeks in the west around Kherson, where Ukraine's attempting a brave move across the river. There are suggestions that they are not seeing the progress they want. In Avdiivka to the far east, they are losing ground, it seems, to Russia, trying to take yet another town of minimal strategic significance with whatever resources they can throw at it. And at the same time, too, where the southern counter-offensive should have yielded the most amount of gain, we've seen troops there experiencing significant casualties and really struggling to hold the ground they gained. It's going to be a bleak winter ahead, but really there's been a staggering failure, frankly, of US politicians and of European unity to get those billions continuing to move. It will impact Ukraine as early as January, so a deep, dark few months ahead here for Ukrainians who've held on so long.
TheAdvocateChannel.com looks at the world through the lens of equality and inclusion. Subscribe, like, and share now. AC 24/7's Top Story Countdown continues with our producer's pick for number 3.
Will appeal. The absurdity of the number merely underscores the absurdity of the entire proceeding.
Rudy Giuliani defiant after his trial to determine defamation damages. Tonight, the 8-member jury awarding the 2 Georgia election workers Giuliani slandered a staggering sum, nearly $150 million, between compensatory damages for both defamation and for emotional distress and punitive damages. The verdict is meant to compensate Ruby Freeman and her daughter Shay Moss for the years of threats, harassment, and fallout from Rudy Giuliani's words after the 2020 election to a Georgia State Senate committee investigating the unfounded fraud.
It's a tape earlier in the day of Ruby Freeman and Shay Freeman Moss and one other gentleman. I mean, it's obvious to anyone who's a criminal investigator or prosecutor, they are engaged in surreptitious illegal activity again that day.
Both women detailed in hours of emotional testimony on the stand how these false allegations upended their lives. They received death threats.
He didn't die, you fucking racist. You and your fat fucking doing this.
Giuliani saying tonight he was not to blame for those.
The comments they received I had nothing to do with. Those comments are abominable, they're deplorable. My comments had no connection at all to those. There were thousands of things in the press about this, of which mine were a small amount.
The plaintiffs also said they were forced into hiding and have been turned down for jobs.
The past few years has been devastating, The flame that Giuliani lit with those lies and passed to so many others to keep that flame blazing changed every aspect of our lives. Our homes, our family, our work, our sense of safety, our mental health, and we're still working to rebuild.
I can never move back into the house that I called home. I will always have to be careful about where I go and who I choose to share my name with.
The judge had already ruled that Giuliani is liable. Their lawyers pointed to these comments from Giuliani outside court this week to prove that Giuliani still is not remorseful.
They were engaged in changing votes.
There's no proof of that.
Oh, you're damn right there is. Stay tuned.
His comments years after his rampage that the 2020 election was rigged.
It's enough to overturn any election. It's disgraceful what happened.
And Giuliani refusing to back down from the lies even now.
I have no doubt that my comments were made and they were supportable and are supportable today.
Like the Advocate channel on Facebook for the best way to get updated stories that advocate for equality, justice, our rights, and more. AC 24/7 continues with today's top 2 pick.
Well, the Israeli military on Sunday revealing new video of what it is calling the largest Hamas tunnel that they have discovered inside the Gaza Strip. In the past, we've seen tunnels that the Israeli military has discovered where individuals would have to walk single file in order to get through them. Very narrow, but this one is quite wide. In fact, wide enough to drive a large vehicle through it, according to the Israeli military. It reaches up to 50 meters underground, and it's equipped with everything from electricity to ventilation and communication systems. The Israeli military says that it is part of a broader network of tunnels that spans 2.5 miles, or about 4 kilometers. This tunnel didn't actually cross into Israel, but it appears to have been used by Hamas within the Gaza Strip. And it comes out very close to one of the key crossing points between Israel and Gaza, and that is the Erez crossing, which was also a key site that Hamas militants attacked on October 7th and then crossed into Israel from there. There's no evidence at this point that this tunnel was used as part of that October 7th attack, but the size and the scale of this tunnel just shows the capacity that Hamas had to build these large networks of tunnels, of which Hamas says that there are hundreds of miles beneath Gaza.
Follow the Advocate channel on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on stories that matter every day. We're now at our number 1 story of the day. Take a look.
Democrats and Republicans in Congress are working to come to terms on the U.S.'s border before the holiday break, and time is running short.
They understand that the border is broken, that glass ceiling has been broken, and we've got to stop this dangerous immigration that we have coming to our country from all over the world.
President Joe Biden says providing more funds for Ukraine's war against Russia is necessary to some extent because of the U.S.'s own national security.
For us to fail to come together and support Ukraine in their ongoing fight for freedom against Russian aggression would be a huge gift to Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping and Hamas.
Republicans say they won't budge on the Ukraine support unless changes are made to the immigration process.
We're helping Israel, and jihadist groups want to hit us to punish us for helping Israel. I will not help Ukraine, Taiwan, or Israel until we secure a border that's been obliterated.
Among the proposed changes discussed, increasing the credible fear standard for asylum seekers and boosting the use of a fast-track deportation procedure.
People in this country are furious at this open border crisis. That's why it's so imperative that the Senate and the House work with the president to come up with a national security package that puts the country above everything else.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Thanks for watching the Advocate channel's top stories. We're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Follow, like, and share, or check out advocatechannel.com for even more stories that advocate for you.